guys, this is Stephanie and I'm Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. I am finally coming to you with another video. Today is a Monday Reads, and I'm going to talk about the last 15 books that I've read. I've read 15 books since the beginning of November, which is the last time I had a Monday Reads, and I'm going to talk to you guys about those, and I'm going to hopefully talk about them quickly. We'll have to see about that. I know it has been a while since you guys have seen me, but I have been not feeling the best, and I filmed this actually Monday Reads 2 other times. One time I started the editing and I was like, oh my goodness, I do not feel good. I can tell from watching this video just how crummy I felt and how low energy I was. That's my phone. So I just scrapped that one, and then I filmed a new one like 2 weeks later, and I felt okay during that one, but I actually filmed it at my office because I was in a hurry and like wanted to get it filmed and edited. So I filmed it at my office, and at some point the sun went behind my head, and then I was like backlit for the majority of the video. It was not good, and then I just wasn't feeling good. I've had a cold. I'm still getting over a bit of a cold now, and been exhausted, which is no fun, but I felt pretty good today, and so I was like, you know what I'm gonna do today? I am going to film a video is what I'm going to do. So here I am, filming a video for you guys. Yay. And I've actually started getting all my notes. Holy stars, can you stop texting me? It's my sister. She's the worst. I had been preparing my beginning of year videos, so like the best and the worst and the stats and all that kind of stuff. Even though I haven't been feeling up to filming, I have been feeling up to getting some of my data and stuff together. So I'm hoping that I will feel super good, and on one of my days off this next week, and then I can just film, and then I'll have a ton of videos for you guys. I'm going to be spreading those out throughout the month of January. I'm going to be releasing them as I can. So we will see. Usually my whole month of January is filled with the 2020 this and that, and the wrap up of the 2019 blah 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 and all that kind of stuff. So that's what it is. Hi, did you come to see me, Centipede? Huh? Did you come see Mommy? Your paws are freezing, and your ears are cold too. Oh, you can't see my little brown bear because she blends in with my Wookiee outfit. Did you guys notice my Wookiee outfit? Hi, I am a Wookiee. She's getting down. Mark says I look more like an Ewok because I'm short, but this is it. The Wookiee outfit, and it goes down here, but it says Chewbacca on the pocket. Hold on, I'll unvelcro it. It says Chewbacca, so we're Chewie. So this is definitely Chewie. This is not an Ewok, not an Ewok. But I do think Ewoks are ridiculously cute. I did see the new Star Wars movie, and like my favorite part is where they had the Ewoks at the end going woo woo, and I was like, woo woo. I do like Ewoks. They is cute. So this will be my Chewbacca Monday Reads. So there. And also note, I have my little sign. I need to figure out exactly what I'm going to do with this outside of almost knock it over. I need to figure out if I'm going to try and light it, or where I'm going to put it, or if it's going to move around. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So I will think about that. So we can play a little game called Find the Stacks on Stacks sign. Because that sounds fun. So basically in the last 2 months, since November 14th, so like a month and a half, I have read 15 books. Also, just to be straightforward with you guys, I had a Goodreads challenge of 130 books, which about a month ago I switched down to 110 because I just was like, I'm not gonna hit 130 no matter what. And it's like 4 days at the end of the year, and Goodreads today sent me an email. It's like, hey, if you read a book a day, you can hit your reading goal. I'm thinking, or I can change my reading goal to 106. Don't tell me what to do, man. I will probably try and hit my reading goal though, to be honest. I could probably knock out 4 graphic novels in 4 days. I believe in me. I do. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to go through are the graphic novels that I've read in the last month and a half. I have a few of them here, and then there's quite a few that I don't have as well. I've just been in the mood to read graphic novels. I think I get off the Get Graphic Readathon, and that's what I like. I read book 6 and 7 of The Girl from the Other Side. I don't have the 7th one, but I still read it from a library, and I'm pretty sure I rated them each for like 4.5-ish stars. Like, I'm really liking these books. I think I liked the 6th one like more than the 5th one because I was finally getting answers and more answers to things and enjoying it. It's a great story, kind of about a manga with people who, you know, I'm not going to tell you about it because the surprise is better, but you know, just make sure you have all 7 before you start them because that's how you want to read them, I'm sure. I also read Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell, and it was so cute. I loved it. I think I gave it a 4.8 or 4.7 or something like that. The funny thing is Rainbow Rowell lives in a town that's like an hour away from where I live. So I'm pretty sure I know the pumpkin patch that she based this on. If not, we actually have tons of pumpkin patches, tons of them around here. And they're all pretty similar. Like they all have pumpkin anything you can think of. Like pumpkin cotton candy, pumpkin this, pumpkin everything. And which is fun. Usually there'll be a lot of apple ones too. We have quite a few apple orchards around here too, and we'll have the Apple Jacks Festival and Apple Days and all that kind of fun stuff. And they'll have like apple cider and apple fritters, and it's the same thing with pumpkin. They'll have pumpkin cider and pumpkin fritters, and like part of the fun of it is like all the outlandish candy, sugar, everything with pumpkins. And they totally had that in spades in this thing. So I could see her walking around one of the many pumpkin patches in our area and doing her research. Like, I just bet she had the best time with it. I liked the story. I thought it was fun. I thought it was great fun, and I would read it again every year. Absolutely. And I think it was a fairly recent release, too. I think it came out this year? Yeah. It came out in September, which is crazy, crazy great. I also read Stargazing by Jen Wang. This was my first Jen Wang, and I got this. Somebody suggested it. Somebody on BookTube suggested it, and I was like, I feel like a graphic novel. I'm going to get this. And I loved this. I thought it was great. Pretty sure I gave it like a 4.6 or 4.5 or something along those lines. I loved this. It's a quick story about a girl who's just a little bit different. And she moves to a new community, and a girl there is kind of like only friends with her because her dad says she has to be friends with her kind of thing. And then she actually ends up thinking, this girl's really cool. Like, she doesn't care what other people think. And she kind of, you know, beats to her own drum and all that kind of great stuff. And yeah, it's basically about 2 girls who are unlikely friends and how they become friends. And it's just such a great, fun story. And I really enjoyed it. And so then I also picked up the next thing that my library had by Jen Wang, and that is The Prince and the Dressmaker, which I heard about this years ago. I want to say on Zoe's, Read by Zoe's channel, I think. And I gave this a 4.0 as well. So I think I really enjoy her art style, for one. I also enjoy her storytelling, but this one had just some beautiful pictures, and the storyline was really fun and different. I don't think it's a story that's been told before, per se. Basically, it's about a girl who is commissioned to be the dressmaker for a prince who just happens to like to wear dresses. So he just appears to be a transvestite. So he likes to wear women's clothes and women's shoes. And so he has this dressmaker making him very like specific clothes for him. And she just likes to design fun stuff, and he likes to wear the fun stuff. So it's kind of a really good friendship, and that's what the book follows. It has these great pictures of these great dresses, which is like watching Project Runway back in the day. And then you get to see this great friendship on top of it. And I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was super fun. And then the last one I read by her was the last one that my library had by her, which is called In Real Life, or IRL, which I still have, even though I finished it like a week ago. I do need to take it back. So you kind of see her art style a little bit here. And this is about a girl who finds the wonderful world of online gaming. This is very World of Warcraft-ish, which I appreciate because I do play World of Warcraft from time to time. And basically she lives this somewhat humdrum life, and then she gets on to online gaming and starts to view herself in a different way and is learning more about people. She's probably had a very sheltered life up until this point, so she's kind of learning about people and who they are and things along those lines too. So this was great. This one was great too. I'm pretty sure I gave this like a 4.5 or something like that too. I think I like Jen Wang. I think I would buy her books, and I think I definitely have found another auto-read author. I like her. I think that is it for the graphic novels I read. I did read a short book called In Conclusion, Don't Worry About It by Lauren Graham, and this one was one that was on somebody's TBR that I saw, or somebody's wish list or something like that. And I was like, this is like a 50-page book. So basically she had to write the commencement speech for, I want to say Oxford, but I don't remember who. I don't remember where. And so she kind of wrote this out, the speech, and she wrote like an intro with it, and that is what the book is. And basically the intro is like, well, it's like half the book, but it's like, here you go. I was really nervous I had to write this, and last year at Oxford, like, Will Ferrell did the speech, so it's all this pressure that I have to be funny and funnier than Will Ferrell and bigger and better and And then she gives the speech of basically like, everybody's worried about their futures and worrying doesn't do any good, so, you know, don't worry about it. It's just pretty good advice, actually. It was good. I think I gave it like 3 stars or something like that. It wasn't earth-shattering, but it was good. Okay, I think I'm gonna go on to books that I have read. So I finished Catherine Davidsdotter's book, and it's called Daughter. I listened to this one. I loved this one. I gotta be honest. I thought this was so much fun. I gave it like a 4.1, 4.2 stars. I was impressed with her writing. She tells the story very well. She didn't go too chronological either. She kind of did some jumping around, which I kind of liked, actually. I don't normally like that in a story, but I did like this one. And it is a nonfiction. Hooray. And basically, this one, she's just talking about why she's a 2-time champion, how she made it, like her practices with food, her practices with her exercise, all that kind of stuff. In addition to which, she talks about the year that she did not come in first, the first year she did not come in first after she had her back-to-back wins, and what was going on in her life. And it really humanizes. I feel like sometimes it's so easy to look at, like, you know, celebrities that are athletes and be like, well, they must have it all together, and I bet they play basketball all day long, so they're just the world's best basketball player or whatever. And she really talks about balance in your life and maturing and understanding your body and having good boundaries. And I really, really liked it. Like, I found everything she said very relatable. I found everything she said very grounded, and I frankly would listen to another book by her as well. And I have the Froning one by Rich Froning. He was like 6 times strongest man in the world, something like that. Now he does the team version of CrossFit, so it's a little different. Though I do believe his team has won like every year since he stopped doing the individual. Anyway, his book, I think I have it on audio. If I don't, I will get it on audio. And then Tia Claire Toomey has one out too. She's the world's fittest woman, last 3 years. And I just don't think my library has it yet. But once they get it, I will probably listen to it and or read it. Because I enjoy CrossFit. I actually miss it. I haven't been healthy enough to work out, which is stink. And I miss working out. I miss CrossFit. I miss the people. I miss, yeah, all that kind of stuff. The next one I read next to, I finished Harry Potter and Half-Blood Prince first, and then The Deathly Hallows. I just love Harry Potter's. I gave them both 5 stars. I just, like, and this is the second time I've read both of these. The others I think I've read a few times, the 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's only like my second time through them, I think. They're just so good. Like, I read these and I'm just like, how do I forget just what a good story it is and what a good writer you are, and just the world that she took to build during the first few books, and then the payoff and the tears. I think I was crying through this one the whole time because I was like, I know who dies. So every time any of them come into the scene, I'm just like, they're gonna die. It's wonderful. Love reading books that I know I'm gonna cry during. Gave them both 5 stars. Love them. I don't know if I'll do a Harry Potter reread next year. I have a lot of books I want to reread, and I'm gonna have a video coming out about that, about series, most of them are series that I'm gonna reread. My rereading's gonna go up next year, so I don't know if I'll do a Harry Potter reread next year, or if I'll just do it like, you know, on the odd years. Who knows? Who knows? I'm unpredictable like that. I also did a buddy read with my good friend Serenity Dawn of Aurora Rising by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I loved this one. I think initially I gave it like a 4.6, and then I went back and I gave it 5 stars. Sometimes in Goodreads it's like, what do you rate it? I'm like, I don't know. I just got done reading this. And then I go back and change it later because I need time to process books. I am not a kind of person that like can depend on my first impression for a book. A lot of times it has to do with how I felt about the ending versus how I feel about the book. So I do go back and change my Goodreads things. Sometimes it's a week later, weeks later, it just depends. But like the time to talk to me about a book is not right after I finish it because I'm just not thinking logically. I'm thinking about the end. But I really enjoyed Aurora Rising. To me, this is YA sci-fi done right. They had great characters. They explain the whole universe. So you're in a universe and you go from planet to planet and you're meeting different species and stuff like this. And I feel like this was done well. Like at no point were they like, oh yeah, that's the circus system over there out at, you know, there at the place. And then there'll be like, oh yeah, the circus system, because you know in there you turn into an animal when you go there, haha, or whatever. Like, they really explained things through. I never felt like I was missing something or missing part of a joke or anything like that. And it very much made me think of Zenith, which I read like a year and a half ago. It was very painful. it was full of like those things that I was just saying, like, oh yeah, the circus system, because you know, we've all been to the circus system, and then you turn into an animal while you're there, and blah blah blah. But they don't actually explain it, and it's not actually interesting. It wasn't actually fun. It was actually kind of painful. So it was just one of those things that I could not help but compare those two books in my brain. I could not help but think, this is how it was supposed to be done. Zenith was not good, and it was painful, and I really didn't like it. I had a problem not just with like the main character, but with really all the characters, the plot, the predictability of the plot, the great lack of plot, like how two things happen in that entire book. I gotta be honest, in Aurora Rising, a ton of things happen, like, and things that you're like, that's not gonna happen, and it happens. How are they actually gonna get out of this? And then they get out of it, and you're just like, like the whole book, and I really enjoyed it. This is a series I'm gonna enjoy. I will probably have to reread these books at some point to get caught up in series. You guys know how that goes. So I gave this one 5 stars. I truly, truly did enjoy it. I enjoyed the whole ride. Basically, like I said, it's a YA sci-fi. We're kind of following a group of kids that are in like a flight school, you could say, like, you know, outer space kind of flight school, and on a planet. And one of the guys is out for like a morning drive, a morning run, you know, to kind of clear his head, and then he sees this ship floating about in the middle of nowhere, and there's a life sign on there, and he goes and he gets the life sign and brings it back, and he meets up with his team, and then something happens and they are suddenly on the run. That's all I'm really gonna say. I'm trying to be vague because, you know, it's the surprises that make the book. But I knew like nothing about this book going into it, except that it was a YA sci-fi, and I had a very low standard for it too, because the last YA sci-fi I read, Zenith, was not good. Did not enjoy it. This one I loved, and maybe it's because I had a lower standard, I don't know, but I truly did enjoy this one. And on that sci-fi note, I also read, oh, I think I already talked about Skyward. Okay, I read Starsight, I'll put a picture of it here, by Brandon Sanderson, which is the sequel to Skyward. I did this as another buddy read with Serenity Dawn, and I loved this. I loved this. This was incredible. Again, I got done and I was like, I don't know, 4.8. I kind of wanted more scenes with this person, and they weren't really as together in this as I wanted them to be. And then I think about it a week later and I'm like, what am I thinking about? I loved it. The whole thing was great. I am so excited for this. I think the next one comes out next year. I'm not 100% sure about that. I know Sanderson has another book in the Way of Kings series. That's Stormlight Archives. That's what it's called. Coming out next year. So I don't know if he will be adding to his YA book series, but one can hope. I do hope, because I really, really liked this one. In the first book, we're following a girl named Spensa, who has a lot to prove. Her father has been branded a coward, and she wants to prove that she is not a coward. He was not a coward. She wants to get into the academy for the flying in space people. I have no words today, guys. This is what you get. This is what you get. She basically wants to prove that she is more than that, and wants to get into the school and wants to just be the best. And then a lot of things happen. We meet Doomslug, who I love, and we meet Mbot, who I also love, and we get friends along the way and acquaintances, and we learn a lot about the planet that she's living on and the history of that planet. And then in the second book, and I loved it. I kind of like, it was one of those books, like a week later, I was like, I should just reread them both, but I have more things to read. Maybe next year, but I have more things to read right now. I also read Supernova, which I actually listened to on audiobook, and then I was given this book, which is fantastic, for my book exchange. I'll talk about that more later when I do some video about books I got for Christmas, because I haven't gotten them all yet. Otherwise I'd film it now, but I haven't gotten them all yet. I loved it. This is the third book in the Renegade series by Marissa Meyer. It's kind of funny because I've heard lately a few people that are like, I just couldn't get into that series. I just didn't like it. I loved it. Like, it's superheroes and supervillains, and it's good versus bad, and the questionableness of it all, and then this is the conclusion of it. The thing is with this book, I did think about it and give it 5 stars later. The ending was not what I felt it should have been, but it was still acceptable. Then they had this little epilogue, and that is what made it better for me, the epilogue. If she wouldn't have had the epilogue, I think I would have given it like a 4.2, 4.3. Like, it was pretty good, but it wasn't the best. But the epilogue, I was like, yes, that is where it is at. This is yet another series I think I would appreciate some novellas about. I was talking to somebody about it like just a few days ago. She was like, what series would you like some novellas about? And I was like, Harry Potter. And she's like, about who? And I'm like, you know, the Order of the Phoenix. I'd love some novellas about them, or maybe about like Harry's parents back in the day. Even some novellas about Voldemort and how he, like, you know, got to be such a crapbag. Things like that I think would be interesting. Or even novellas back when Dumbledore wasn't as old as dirt. You know, who's to say? I would love novellas in this series as well. I feel like there's so many characters you could have novellas about, and like up close looks at them and stuff like that. I would totally love that about this. I did end up giving it 5 stars. I do love this series. It's one I need to reread at some point, but I just finished this, so that's not going to happen right now. Almost done. I have 3 more books to talk about. The first one I read was The World of Lore: Wicked Mortals by Aaron Mahnke. Now this one I actually listened to. I got it from the library, and this was for my book club. And I listened to it because the girl who suggested it was like, oh, you should listen to it. He has a podcast, which he does, and he reads things himself, and he's so great. He is so great. This book is freaking scary. Oh my stars. I think I gave it like a 3.5 stars because I just got too scared and I couldn't read it if it's dark outside. And guys, it gets dark before 5. So I was having a really hard time getting through this book. Other people in the book club loved this book. They gave it 5 stars. They thought it was fantastic. I was like, no, I didn't want to read it. It was scary. Now, you guys know I'm a wuss. I don't like scary. I don't like to be scared. Even suspenseful can be questionable at times for me. So maybe it's not that scary, but it kind of was. Basically, it's a bunch of short stories. And that was the other thing. It was really hard for me to rate because some of the short stories I liked quite a bit and some of them I didn't care about at all. And then later when we were having to discuss it, I was having to remember which short story was that one. I don't think I am one for short stories, to be honest. But I'm talking like some of the short stories were like 6 pages and some of them were like 15 pages. And they were really short stories. And I found it difficult to sometimes remember about some of these short stories, like some of the people, and then I think I got some of them mixed up with each other. And I think what was so scary about it for me was that these were like real people. Like, they're talking about H.H. Holmes, who's like the world's, America's first like serial killer. And I've actually read a book about him before. It's been a long time, so I should probably reread it. But the dude was creepers, and yeah, I was not all that okay with it. In addition to which, they have all these other stories about like axe murderers who are wandering around like, you know, rural Kansas and Oklahoma killing people, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And yes, this is like in like the 20s and the 30s, but it's just scary to think that, oh yeah, this guy came and like axed everybody's in their beds, and then he hung out in the house for like 5 days and, you know, ate all their food and took naps, and I'm like, oh. So I had a hard time with this book. It scared my pants off, and like I said, I couldn't read it at night because then I would have bad dreams like every night. And I didn't like having bad dreams. I didn't like it. So if you like somewhat unsettling to scary books, you might like this one, but I didn't. I didn't like it. And I wanted to, and everybody else liked it. I think I'm just a little, it's just not for me. But heck, it was a good ride. The writing was good. I liked the writing, and I liked the way he read it. Like, all that was good. I just don't like to be scared. Okay, next I read The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. And this is one I got in a book box. I didn't get in a book box. I got it in a book outlet box just a little bit ago. And somebody commented about how much they liked this book. And it's a Scrooge story. And you should read December. And it was December. And I was like, you're right, I should read this. So I read it like a couple weeks ago. Not even. I think I finished it like on Christmas Eve or something like that. Despite the fact it has deckled edges, I finished it. I really like this one. I gave it like a, I think I gave it like a 3.5, 3.6. Looking back, I think I'd give it like a 4.1. Like, I really enjoyed this one. Basically, this is a modern day Scrooge story. So it's modern day. She's kind of a mean girl who's pretty rich, has everything she wants, and she sees the ghost of Christmas past, present, future. She laughs at them all, and then she chooses not to change her ways. And then she dies. But she doesn't really die. She dies, and then she is now employed for, like, the Scrooge Project is what they call it. And now she's the ghost of Christmas past, and every year they prepare all year long, and they do their research, and they find out about this person so they can play Scrooge for one night, and then, you know, he will repent or she will repent and become a better person because they've realized that they do not appreciate life and they're crappy and all these things like that. The premise of this is pretty interesting. Clearly there's a suspension of reality in there. There's a little bit of, you could say, magic. Holly doesn't particularly explain it. She'll just be like, I don't know how they do it. They just do it. And she does come off as like a snotty little socialite kind of girl. Most of the time, her dad's like a big time movie director guy. It's pretty good, actually. Like, I like what they do with it. Like I said, they suspend reality and things aren't always what they seem, which is also good. And this sounds like a done deal. Like, I feel like I knew that part of the story and I was like, that's an open and shut case. It was not. There was a lot more to it. There was a lot of story with it. And I really did like it and found it believable with the suspension of reality, blah, blah, blah. But very, very good. It was a great Christmas read, to be honest. And then I did get this book called Sorry I'm Late, I Didn't Want to Come. One Introvert's Year of Saying Yes by Jessica Pan. This was really cute. I got this for Christmas from a friend of mine, and I just picked it up like right away. She gave it to me, and I started reading it immediately. As we were sitting at dinner with other people, what does Steph do? She picks up a book. Fortunately, nobody at that table really cared that I did that. They understood everything. They probably would have done the same thing if they would have had book 2. Yeah. But I started to read it, and this is hilarious. This is also a nonfiction, and it's basically about a girl who, exactly like it sounds, starts saying yes to things. She's an introvert. She realizes she's an American. She married a British man. They now live in London, and she realizes she doesn't have any friends. Her friends have moved away, and she's lonely, and she's like, I should change this. Now, she is an introvert and she's also very shy, which not all introverts are shy. Lots of introverts are not particularly shy. They just recharge by having time when not around other people, which would be me. I don't think I'm super shy, though I'm not particularly eager to talk to people who I don't know. I also think that is not uncommon either. But basically, she's hilarious, and she takes a year and she takes like improv classes and she does stand-up, which I suck at improv. I will not be doing improv anytime soon. I'm a good straight man with improv, let me put it that way, but I'm not funny. I am not the funny person. I am a great butt of the joke, and I am great at like being clueless and making people making fun of me. I'm great at that, and I'm great at not laughing on stage. But I'm not funny, which is why I could never do stand-up. And I've thought about it before because I've watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and I really liked it, but I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could come up with new shtick every night. I'm not funny. I have too many ums and ahs. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But this was fantastic, and I flew through this. I think I had the whole thing read in like, well, let's see. I got it on the 24th, and today's, I think I got it read in like 4 days. I did like it. I thought it was really fun, and yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. If you want to read a book about an introvert learning that she doesn't have to be an introvert, she can extrovert, she can put herself out there, this is a great one to do. It was really, really fun. I totally enjoyed this. So thank you, Leslie. Great choice in book. And I think that was it. I hope this video isn't heinously long either. Oh, I'm going to go over the books I'm going to be reading. Ha ha ha. So those are the books I have read in the last month and a half. I am working on a book called Dare to Lead, and this is by Brene Brown. And this is one that I wanted to read because I'm a director of a kids camp for foster kids. It's 1 week every summer, and we kind of start our stuff about this time of year. We start putting out applications for people, and I'm basically always looking for ways to be a better leader. I am not the world's greatest leader. I lead because this is a position that needs to be filled, and I do feel I'm called to do it right now. But I don't feel like I'm the best person for the job. I feel like there are lots of other people that are more qualified than I am. There are people that are in the foster system. They work in the foster system. Or there are some people that are like psychologists, and they've worked with kids who have trauma all the time. And that's not me. I'm just willing to do paperwork and plan things. So in the meanwhile, I would like to be the best leader I could possibly be. So I'm reading this book to improve upon me being a leader. I am also reading the Book of Life by Deborah Harkness. Yes, so those are the two books that I'm reading. I'm only just into it, like 50 pages into it, not even. So yeah, but that is all I have for you guys. That is what I read. That is what I'm going to read. I do have some books I can haul, but I'm going to hold off on those, and I am going to be preparing some great videos for you guys. And if I'm really on top of it, I will finally get my July reads up before the end of December. We can cross our fingers and hope for that one. I don't know if this is going to happen though. We'll see. Leave your comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I will have a bunch of videos out for you guys in January, which I'm super excited about. Okay, bye. Bye!